Meat made us, but the line between essential fuel and real danger is thinner than you think. Around 2 million years ago, our plant-eating ancestors made a switch that would reshape the human body, and it had almost nothing to do with flavor. Climate change was thinning out the vegetation they depended on, and meat filled the nutritional void. By the time fire entered the picture, flesh had become a dietary staple rather than an occasional windfall. The reason it worked is written into our biology. We eat for 3 reasons: to harvest energy, to gather raw materials for building cells, and to obtain special molecules our bodies cannot synthesize. Meat delivers on all 3 counts with remarkable efficiency. Meat supplies every essential amino acid the human body requires, and protein remains the most important resource for repairing and replenishing our cellular machinery. It also delivers iron, zinc, and vitamins scarce or absent in plants, including vitamin B12. Only one essential nutrient is conspicuously missing from most cuts: vitamin C, which guards the immune system and builds connective tissue, and whose prolonged absence produces scurvy within a few months. There is a second, less obvious advantage. The nutrients in meat tend to be highly bioavailable, meaning the body extracts them quickly and cheaply. Here is the counterintuitive part. Spinach actually contains more iron than a steak, yet the body absorbs that plant iron slowly and burns more energy digesting it. The lesson encoded in our evolutionary history is not that meat is uniquely nourishing, but that it is uniquely convenient nourishment, a metabolic shortcut our species came to depend on. Treating meat as a single substance obscures the most important fact about it. The health consequences depend enormously on which animal it came from and how it was prepared. Western diets center on muscle tissue, which is dense in nutrients but lacks some of the vitamins that would make survival on meat alone possible. Within that category, a clear ranking emerges. Fish sits at the top. It carries polyunsaturated fatty acids, such as omega-3, long associated with lower cardiovascular risk and anti-inflammatory effects. Though large randomized trials in recent years have produced inconsistent results and reopened the debate about how protective these fats truly are. Chicken occupies a close second place, widely regarded as the meat carrying the fewest health penalties. Its main charge, a high content of saturated fat linked to raised cholesterol and heart disease, remains contested, since many scientists argue cholesterol levels are substantially inherited rather than dictated by diet. Then comes the genuinely surprising part. The Inuit historically survived in brutal conditions on a diet that was almost entirely meat, and they did not develop scurvy. The trick was that they consumed the whole animal, organs included, which supplied the vitamin C that muscle tissue lacks. That single ethnographic fact dismantles a common assumption. The danger of meat is not intrinsic to flesh itself. A population can thrive on it almost exclusively, provided the nutritional gaps are filled. The trouble begins when meat is red and worsens when it is processed. The danger zone opens with high intakes of red meat: beef, veal, pork, lamb, horse, and goat. The scale of recent evidence is hard to wave away. In 2024, a federated analysis published in The Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology pooled individual data from roughly 1.97 million adults across 31 cohorts in 20 countries, tracking more than 100,000 new cases of type 2 diabetes. Every additional 100 grams of unprocessed red meat per day, about a small steak, was associated with a 10% higher risk of developing the disease. Even poultry carried a weaker 8% association. Comprehensive meta-analyses through late 2024. Similarly link red meat to elevated colorectal cancer risk, with each 100 grams a day raising risk by roughly 17%. These numbers sound alarming, and before panic sets in, the method behind them deserves scrutiny. Much of the older evidence came from case control studies, which take people who already have a disease and sort them by eating habits. The recurring problem is confounding. People who eat less meat tend to live healthier lives across the board. They eat more fruit and vegetables, smoke less, exercise more, and drink less alcohol. Statisticians work hard to strip these variables out, but disentangling a single food from an entire lifestyle is extraordinarily difficult, and definitive causal statements remain elusive. The newer analyses, harmonizing raw participant data rather than pooling published summaries, narrow that uncertainty considerably, which is exactly why their broad consistency across continents is so striking. If red meat lives in scientific ambiguity, processed meat does not. Processing means transforming flesh through curing, smoking, salting, or fermenting, the same steps that make bacon, ham, salami, sausages, and hot dogs delicious. They also introduce nitrates and nitrites, which can form nitroso compounds that damage DNA in the digestive tract. High-temperature cooking compounds the problem by generating additional carcinogens such as heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. The verdict here is institutional, not speculative. The International Agency for Research on Cancer assembled 22 experts from 10 countries who reviewed more than 800 studies and concluded that processed meat is strongly linked to colorectal cancer. Each extra 50 grams per day, roughly 2 slices of ham, raises that risk by about 18%. Processed meat was placed in Group 1, the agency's highest certainty category, alongside tobacco smoking and asbestos, not plutonium, as the comparison is often misremembered. The distinction the agency itself stresses is crucial. Group 1 measures how confident scientists are that something causes cancer, not how much cancer it causes. The magnitudes are not comparable. An estimated 34,000 cancer deaths a year worldwide are attributed to diets heavy in processed meat, against roughly 1 million from smoking. Beyond cancer, processed meat is also tied to higher rates of diabetes, stroke, and coronary heart disease. The strength of the evidence, not the size of the threat, is what earns it that notorious classification. So, how frightened should anyone actually be? Combined high consumption of red and processed meat has been associated with up to a 29% rise in the chance of premature death. Translated into absolute terms, that converts a 3% annual risk into roughly 4%. For one person, it sounds trivial, yet across societies of millions, those slim percentages become enormous public health arithmetic. A 2024 microsimulation estimated that a mere 30% cut in processed meat consumption in the United States could prevent hundreds of thousands of diabetes and cardiovascular cases and tens of thousands of deaths over a single decade. Tiny fractions scale into vast numbers, and they feel harmless only until they reach you. It would be wrong to convict meat wholesale. There is no solid evidence that the essence of meat harms us beyond its fat content, and even that point remains contentious. The pattern resembles many pleasures. The danger lies in excess, not existence. Public health agencies generally recommend capping meat near 500 grams a week, while cutting processed meat as low as possible. Yet the average American eats nearly 1,600 grams a week, and the average German around 1,100. So for most people, Moderation means real change. Track your own intake for 2 weeks, and the total will likely surprise you. Factor in the meat industry's climate footprint. And the conclusion is not abstinence, but recalibration. You need not go vegetarian overnight for your choices to matter, for yourself and for others. Thanks for watching. If you have anything to add, drop a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos exploring the world around us.